Seasonal patterns are a great addition to any portfolio. You need to always have at least one seasonal strategy in your portfolio. This also could be called bias. Basically, we are looking for a pattern in the instrument. This could be intraday, it could be daily, it could be weekly. And then you include that strategy in your portfolio because the driver of that return from the strategy will be totally different from any other style of strategy that you have in your portfolio. Now, in my ATM Algo Trading Masterclass, I have this tool which is specialized to find those patterns in any instrument you upload. From that tool, you can get many patterns and build strategies out of those patterns, and you can include those strategies in your portfolio. That tool shows you intraday patterns or intra-week patterns that you can use. But today I will show you a tool where you can discover many other patterns above the intraday. The tool is called Seasonax. Now, I have done videos on Seasonax, but the app was updated many times, and today I will include all these updates and give you a full review of the new tool. Before we go any further, the basic premise for seasonal patterns is this. Imagine you have the curve performance of every instrument for every day of the year. So this is what it looks like, and if you stack them all together, you get a curve like this. Basically, you're averaging everything and you're getting every day the performance for the past however many years of data you have. And then everything is built around that data. So this is the original tool, Seasonax, and first welcomed addition is the black interface. So if you go to your account and you click on dark, you can see here, save it, go back, and now you have a dark interface. Of course, this is very welcomed addition. It reduces the strain on your eyes. Now, Seasonax have data for global markets for around 25,000 instruments. Here you have the popular instruments, and of course, you can search and look for global instruments. And they have data up to 100 years, depending on the instrument. I'll start first with the screener. This makes it easier for you to find patterns. So this automatically finds patterns that are coming soon. So for example, here, this is the Dow Jones, and the starting date of this is 9th because I'm recording this on the 9th of June, but you can go further. So 10, 16, 23, and 9th of July. So every time you log into the screener, it will give you about a month forward patterns. Then also you can decide on how many years you can include. Let's do 15. And you can also decide on what's the time period that this pattern holds. So I look for short-term patterns. This is 5 to 30 days. And then you can filter by what's the win percent. So let's look anything above 80%, up or down. So up for long, down for shorts. So for example, based on this, I have Amgen and Johnson & Johnson. These are two patterns that are found within these filters. Here you can pick baskets, or you can pick commodities, currencies, US indices, European indices, US sectors, European sectors, and other indices around the world. Let's click on Amgen. Once you have the patterns, so the pattern is highlighted and you get all these statistics. So this is the performance per year. This is the cumulative profit if you invested in this pattern for the past 15 years. Now this pattern holds for a month from 9th of June till 9th of July. And if you annualize this, the annualized return will be 68%. So out of the last 15 years, 80% of the trades were winners with a median return of 2.72%. The average return is 4.4%. This is the profit in points. In this case, this is a stock. So every point is worth $1 per share. So this is in total how much you made per share, $72 per share. So if you invested 1,000 shares at a time, you would have made $72,000. And then we have 12 profitable trades, 3 losing trades, the profit and loss on average, and this number of trades, how many calendars held, and how many trading days held. Because even though we have a month, but in that month we had only 21 trading days. And then you have all the trades listed with MAE and MFE numbers. So while the screener provides these automatic patterns, we can of course look for our own pattern. So for example, let me bring crude oil. So we can see that crude oil on average every Monday is down. Is down what? By 0.2%. And also very obvious here, we can see that April, May, June are up and July to December are down. Now you might not see it here because this includes the trend. You can detrend, and this is another good feature. So if you click on this, this is detrended now. And you can see that's why we can short from July till, let's say, middle of December. And if we are shorting, then this is profitable, but this is 50-50. But what if we short from middle of October almost to middle of December? Now we are much better placed. Look at this. This is 70% win trade because we are shorting, so it's the opposite. And our median trade is 8.25% win rate. That's huge percentage. And I can go back. So this is 10. Let's go back to 25 years. And again, even in 25 years, look how this pattern is strong. Now I can finesse this. Let's say I can go here and pull back to here. And let's say now I'm holding less, but I'm making close to the same amount of money. And let's say I like this pattern. So the next feature now we have is we can save this pattern. So if you go here, this is the bookmark. So if I bookmark this pattern, now it's saved in my patterns. The nice feature now we have is if we go to patterns, we can go to manage patterns, and this is my recent pattern. So now if I click on it, or any number of patterns that I have saved, and I can add them to my calendar. Now you will receive an email 3 days before the pattern starts and 3 days before the pattern ends. And actually I can go to patterns, my calendar. You can see here I have Apple for this month. And if I go to October, here is my crude oil saved here. So on Tuesday, October 10th, I'll receive an email saying this pattern will be alive in 3 days. And of course, if you click on it in the calendar, it will take you to the pattern and everything inside. So this is a great added features because now you can save hundreds of patterns and you will receive an email 3 days before it happens to let you know that that this pattern is coming and you can trade that pattern. Also in the screener, you have your own basket. So for example, this is Dividend Kings. These are the stocks that part of the Dividend Kings, which are like basically increasing their dividends for the past 25 years. So once you put those in, it will also automatically search your basket of instruments and give you these patterns. So although these are dividend stocks, and I have a momentum system built on these dividend stocks that I use in the portfolio section in the community, but the screener will also look inside your basket and will give you patterns. So for example, I can sort by annualized return. So this is 44% going long. And if I go on the downside, this is 70% on the short side. So let's go 25 years. So over the past 25 years, this pattern made money if you short this stock between June 9th and 25th of June. The win rate is 72% and you make annualized 65%. The median is 2.62% per trade. Those baskets you can control here. You can manage the baskets and you can add a new basket and so on and so forth. And each basket can hold up to 100 instruments. Now, Seasonax is free to try, so you have nothing to lose. You definitely should try it and find some patterns to use in your trading. You can use it as a signal or as a filter. They have the free plan and they have basic and professional. Now with basic and professional, if you switch to annually, you will get a 2 months discount. On top of that, if you use my link, you will get an extra 20% off on top of the 20% off annual. With the paid plans, you get up to 100 years of historical data depending on the instrument, and you can import a custom data, and also you can compare instrument to instrument. Another great feature is you can compare the current pattern to a previous year. So for example, so this is the S&P, and there is a pattern here that's 76% win rate. The median is 3.26 So if we click on more, I can pick the years that I don't want to include. For example, 2002 looks very extreme. So if I click all, I can exclude 2002 from the curve, and you can see it barely changed. But also I can compare it to any year. So for example, let me compare it to 2012, and now the orange line is 2012 and the blue line is the average. You can also compare it to another instrument. So for example, here I will add the triple Q, and the orange line now is the triple Q and the blue line is the S&P. The next feature is you can upload your own data. And of course, when Seasonax built this is because, let's say you are in a country where your data is not part of the data inside SQX. So you can upload all the instruments you want and you will find the patterns inside them. So not only that, you can also upload, for example, alternative data. So for example, this is the USC bot soybean oil number of traders. So you might get a pattern out of this data. Now, of course, if you go here, there are many alternative data featured. So look at this, the agriculture weather. And this is, of course, not free, but you can see how you can build many patterns in alternative data. And of course, most likely you've heard of the commitment of traders, and you can get that data for free here from cftc.gov. And you can get it for many markets, long and short, and commercials and hedgers and so on and so forth. And you can import that data into Seasonax. Now, for example, here I uploaded some custom data. So this is a data set that I uploaded. So this is not an instrument. As you can see, it's called StatOasis data set. And for example, in this data set, there is this pattern where if you hold it, you can make 9.12% median return with almost 60% win rate. And if we do this, 12 years of data I have here, and I can detrend it. So to Seasonax, this is just like another instrument like Microsoft, S&P 500, US dollar, euro dollar. It doesn't matter. To Seasonax engine, this is the same. You feed it data, basically the date and the close, and that's it. Everything else will work. Now, by far the best feature, which I kept it to the end, is the event feature. They added this recently, and this is just amazing because it takes so much out of building those events in your trading platform. For example, I did the end of the month trading strategy, and you can watch that over here. And now in this version of Seasonax, you can test this extrememly easily. Let me show you how. Okay, so here I have the S&P 500 for the past 25 years. And let's detrend. Okay, so now this is the new feature. It's called events. So if you click on events, this is the new chart. 0 denotes to the event day. So whatever event we will pick, this is the event when it happens, and this is 10 days before and 10 days after. And you can pick the number of days here from 3 all the way to 30. So let's stay with 10. And going back to the strategy that I mentioned, if we go and pick our event, so we will go to turn of the month and first day of the month. So now 0 is the first day of the month. That's the event date. So for the S&P 500, for the past 25 years, if we detrend the price, we can clearly see that 5 days before the end of the month, all the way to 3 days after the end of the month, we have a really good pattern. It's 64% win rate, annualized at 18, median is 0.67%. Now I can try to squeeze this and see if we can make it better. So this is 1 day before end of the month and holding for 3 days, and we get almost the same but holding less days. So 61% win rate annualized and 0.61% median return. Now turn of the month, you can have middle of the month, and again there is a pattern in the middle of the month. So -3 all the way to +1. That means 3 days before middle of the month and holding for 1 day. And this is the same pattern. So it makes, again, 65% win rate, and the median is 0.55. So if you trade these two patterns twice a month, because you're holding each time 4 days, end of the month and the middle of the month, you'll make 1.1% on average per month for the past 25 years. Now, in recent years, these patterns behave even much better, even though we can see clearly that I can build less one day and I can make more money. Okay, so since this is the US indexes, I assume it should work on the other indexes. So this is the triple Q. And again, look, it's like copy and paste. Let's go 24 years. Same thing. This is middle of the month and end of the month. Again, it's the same thing. I expect to make money 1 day to 3 days. And this even the median is bigger. And let's see the Dow Jones. Again, it's profitable. So you see the programming part is gone. You can test this on 25,000 instruments. Of course, some patterns will have nothing to do with other instruments. For example, turn of the month on, let's say, I don't know, the DAX maybe. But usually you can find really good patterns. Now, it doesn't go on the day of the month. There are many more patterns. So if we go to central bank, and this is the US Fed rate, I do not know which one is this, and Humphrey, that one I don't know. But then we have the Bank of Japan and the Euro Bank. So the Euro, of course, will affect the European indexes. Bank of Japan will affect the Japanese index or the Japanese yen. And then, of course, the US Fed will affect the US dollar or the bonds and interest rate in the US. So if we take, for example, rate change, and I put here the TLT, which is the 20 plus year treasury bond. So this is really good because we don't need to know ahead of time. So after the rate change in 2 days and hold for 3 days, there is a good pattern. So let me go back. This is 20 years. Median profit is 0.37%, 65% win rate. So this is annualizes almost 50%. That's great. This pattern is 1 day. Look at this, 1 day. So after a Fed rate hike, 4 days, you hold for 1 day, you're getting 0.33% median return per trade. 72 win percent. So this is better than the rate change. And that's 400 annualized because you're holding on 1 day. And that's why it's big. And it's been working for the last 20 years. So again, the testing is extremely easy and you can easily find something. Now I'm going to look at the DAX for Europe. And let's look at the ECB rate change. And let's look 25 years. This is a great pattern. So before a rate change, this is the event date. So 7 days before, we go long, we hold for 3 days. We're making on average 1.13%, 70% win rate. That is an amazing pattern for the past 25 years. Again, if you want to do something after, so for example, after a rate hike, so we're looking for a pattern here. This looks very promising. And it is. So 8 days after a rate hike for the past 25 years, median return is 0.85%, 77% win rate. And of course, it's a huge annualized return because we're holding only for 2 days. And let's see if we have more data, 43 years. And again, it barely budged. 43 years, this pattern produce wonderful results. Now, of course, we have much more patterns. We have the elections, we have future expiries, holidays, and I found one very interesting in Easter. So Easter and DAX, and look at this. So 2 days before Easter, 1 day after Easter. So you're holding 3 days, for the past 43 years. 76% win rate, 1.1 median return. It's impossible that this is a chance. So it's definitely something's there fundamentally. And that's why this pattern works. And now I'm going to try something different. This is reports. And if you go to ISM manufacturing, this is in the US. And since this is affecting manufacturing, I will pick here the XLI ETF, which is the industrial sector. And if we pick last 24 years, and we can see a pattern here from -1 to 3 or 4. So we're holding for 4 days. We're making 0.56% median and 61% win rate. And if we increase 1 day, that's the same thing. And if we start from -5 days to 3, now we're making 0.77% on median and same winning percentage. So you can see it's on and on. There are many patterns. This event thing is amazing. And I'm sure they will update it with more events. And it will be great if they let us add our custom event, just like we add our custom data. To build your own first day of the month strategy, watch this video and I will see you there.